Hi, I just got back from mowing the front lawn, so I'm rather disheveled and sweaty, but I was thinking about this one photo I posted on my Patreon page today, the one right here or there, wherever I end up putting it. It's one that I did in the very earliest days of AI art, when it was first coming out over a year ago. And I like the artist Peter Max, and I also like the 1920s style, so I asked it, please do an image of a 1920s car race in the style of Peter Max. And it did. Back in those days, I got stuff by Hieronymus Bosch. I got things from Dolly, all kinds of things just by asking for them by name. But then it started changing, of course, because you can't do that anymore due to copyright restrictions. Like, for example, all AI art is now considered public domain currently by the Copyright Office. Doesn't matter if your prompt was beautiful, it was amazing, if your concepts were really great, because you can't copyright a concept, but the art that's produced by AI, no matter how much human intervention is in it, they call it something that's public domain. It can't be copyrighted. So there you go. Now, what happens if we have art proliferating all over that is created by AI in the style of a particular artist, but the artist is still living, or his estate is still around, and his original works are copyrighted? Well, what do you do then? Those are copyrighted, but you can make as many rip-offs as you want and send them around, and they can't be copyrighted, and he can't even fight it because they're all declared public domain. Well, I started thinking about how that would affect me, so let me read this little article I wrote on my Patreon page about this. It says, this is one of my first efforts at AI art of all time. This is one of my first efforts at AI art. Like I said, I just got back from mowing. I'm exhausted, And at the time, the tech was brand new, and I was just amazed how AI could capture the flavor of the artist. Of course, since then, they've kind of disabled that feature. You can't say create this in the style of anymore because of the blowback from copyright issues and also robbing artists of their unique approach. So now you have to say create this in the style similar to. And it will still do it. Not as close of a style clone, but not far off. The point is, it's here. It's happening. And we better figure out how to recognize it and respond to it, since there's no putting the genie back in the bottle. Now, as for me, what if somebody copied my style? How would I feel? Well, I've been experimenting with that lately, right on my Patreon page, by creating an AI clone of myself. It's interesting. It's back from about 20 years ago, an image I used, with a different voice than mine, and having her say text that I wrote. Right now I don't think it's as good as my delivery, but she's prettier and younger than me, so there's that. But how do I feel? Well, I don't think you can copyright style. I mean, people have tried. I remember, I think it was John Fogerty was sued because after somebody bought the rights to his songs, he went on to write new songs in a similar style, and they said that he was infringing on their copyright ownership. You can't copyright style. That's well known. But beyond that, reading, any artist has always been able to copy another style in art, music, comedy, whatever. So in a sense, I find it a form of flattery. Maybe not the sincerest, of course, to be ripped off, but flattery nonetheless. Of course, if it's taking money I would have made, that would be a different story. But since virtually all of my art, music, drawn art, even the Dramatica Theoria story that I co-created, has made me hardly anything. So it can't rob me of money I don't have in my particular case. Well, if I'm copied, though, I think I'd be thoroughly pleased with one caveat. I would not like that derivative work to be passed off as something I myself made. That would piss me off royally if people thought that was something I made, because I can't stand behind it. I can't defend it. It's not me. It's not from my mind, okay? If I decided I was going to create something like that in my style using AI, that's one thing. Don't have time to do this, don't have the skills to do that. Let me use AI to better realize my own vision. That's fine. But if they say something out there is made by me and it's not, ooh, that would make me... But another one is, if they put stuff out there and they don't put on attribution, like, here's this beautiful art, and even if people don't know my stuff and they wouldn't think that I had made it because they don't know me from anyone, still, if they put it out there and it's something that they made and they're saying I made it, or they made and they didn't give me attribution for it, well, that would piss me off also if I didn't have the attribution that I think I should get, because, They should say at least something like, inspired by the work of Melanie Ann Phillips, inspired by a song by Melanie Ann Phillips, inspired by the whole style and world and life experience of Melanie Ann Phillips. That would be sufficient. But you know they're not going to do that. And how would you enforce it anyway, even if you made a law out of it? You can't. So the real important thing is that this is here. It's happening. You can't put the genie back in the box. It's not going away. There'll be cheap knockoffs of your work as an artist, just like they knock off major brands from foreign overseas manufacturers and sop up all the money and then move into the next opportunity like locusts. Yes, but how do you really feel? Well, that is kind of like locusts. But the fact is that there will always be artists, and people will know that this is the artist. And they'll always want that human contact because we're humans, we're not AI. And though we might say AI did a great job of copying that artist, or there might be some confusion of whether the artist made it or not, the bottom line is that technology causes airplanes to go over my... You know, when I grew up here in this house some 70 years ago, yeah, okay, it was quiet. There wasn't any of this airplane shit. I mean, we're sitting here listening to this right now, interrupting the conclusion of this rather disjointed effort that I've been putting forward, which is probably all for the good. But anyway, point being, how would you feel? You have to ask yourself about it. How would you feel about that and make up your own mind? You can't stop it, so you can either embrace it, you can ignore it, or you can just let it find its own place in the general run-of-the-mill of things and go with it. And that's pretty much what I'm doing. Sometimes I want something in the style of an artist, and I'll do it, but it's an original idea of mine. Like I did a Salvador Dali pizza, okay? And I came up with several of those, and they're pretty cool. Do I think I'm doing something? No, I'm not pretending that it was made by Salvador Dali. Am I not giving him credit to something he did make? No. Am I not saying anything about the style, letting people think it's a style I came up with? No, I admit to that, and you know, I feel pretty good about it. So, bottom line is that airplanes notwithstanding, here's the next one. You know, sometimes this goes on for 20, 30 minutes in a day. Sometimes, what? And there's other, yeah. Spices for pastrami that Teresa is making, homemade pastrami. She did all the brining of the corned beef, and it's really for a birthday present for my daughter. She made one for us, and now she's making one for my daughter's birthday. Part of it corned beef, and then you take it and put on rub and cook it a certain way, and you end up with pastrami. So those are her pastrami spices. They're very, very good. I like
pungent.
Yeah, pungent. Yes, pungent. And that's pungent, and I'm punchy, and who are you? Well, anyway, that's it for today. Just a little look at that. And probably I think the one thing we can take from this is that it's very important I don't ever try to do another recording right after a bunch of strenuous physical exercise on a hot day. Are we agreed on this? All right. Okay, let's see where the off button is here. Oh, there it is.